Hello YouTube and fellow preppers, this is Geordie Prepper. It's actually been a little while since I did a video, so I'm going to get the ball rolling and do them more frequently again. I've just been quite busy with a few things. So in today's video what we're going to be talking about is prepper literature and books which have come out. And these are just the ones that I use, I mean, I'm not endorsing that you get these ones. As well as prepper literature, the way that you prep is, personal preference. So, you may get many books and you might find that a lot of the topics they cover just aren't relevant to you, or, they're just not your style of prepping. But the books that I have here are just the ones that I use, and I just wanted to cover the topic in a little bit of detail. So obviously before you are actually going to be in a bug out situation, you're going to want to be reading up and getting some good literature on and what gives you good advice for when you're actually in the field. So out in front of you are the books which I have. From left to right you have SAS Survivor Guide. This is the pocket book version. I believe there's a full-size version and there's also an app. So if you have an iPhone or some sort of iOS device or Android, I think, then obviously you can have that guide on your mobile device. Now obviously that has its drawbacks, because if you run out of power, or you're not able to charge that device, or you're simply not able to reach that device for whatever reason, then the guide is pretty much gone. You don't have it with you. So having it in a book form and having it protected from the elements is something that can be a good idea. These three here, I'll keep all of them in my bug out bag if I need a bug out, and they'll be suitably protected, because the information in here, could sustain me in the field and, could actually save my life. So I'll treat it, in as much high regard and respect, and try to protect it as much as I can when I'm in the field. Next we have a guide to mushrooms. Now obviously here in England, mushrooms are prevalent, and although there's a lot that can do you harm, there's also a lot that you can survive off. So I got a book specific to mushrooms, because there's simply a lot of them, and they're easily, processed and, made into a sustainable, meal. And then I also got a food for free pocket guide, and that just basically covers lots and lots of different types of edible food which you can forage. So I wanted something specific, and I wanted something which covered general food. This is all stuff that can be easily found, it can be processed easily, it can be turned into, and contains a lot of the things that your body needs when you're out in the field. There's also things in there for like herbal and medicinal purposes. So it covers all of that in there, which is quite good. And it also covers some food in the SAS guide and some other practical uses for them in here. But for the vast variety of food that I may want in the field, I picked that book. Bugging out, and before preparing your bug out bag, I also got this book, Build the Perfect Bug Out Bag, which is by Creek Stewart. And I looked at a few books on Amazon, and for the reviews and the price that this was, it seemed to be a good buy. And it is. He just uses a common sense approach to the different topics in the book, and it's all just stuff which has helped me further enhance my bug out bag and tailor it for my needs. So you would use this literature, and there's lots of others out there, like Home Defense for Preppers. If you just go on Amazon, you see lots and lots of different books that are available. You may want to, though, if you can, find some specific literature which has, things which grow in your country. So not everything in here is going to be specific to the area that I'm in England. It's, it's not going to have everything in there that's going to be within easy reach for me to have. But as you're travelling and wandering about in a bug out, you know, you want to be keeping yourself up to date and, you know, observing the plant life around you and just seeing what you do have, and then using these as a reference, so that you can, you know, keep yourself hydrated and keep yourself fed and your energy levels up. That's a very, very important thing to do when you're bugging out, is maintaining your energy. And also sleep. Sleep is probably the number one critical thing, which you need to get a good amount of, and a good quality amount of, when you're out in the field. So yeah, the SAS Survivor Guide, you know, it has different things like sleep setups and how to build them. So these here, whilst I'm in the field, and this in preparation to be in the field, is what I use, and it's what I bought. And these are the only ones that I do have. But I will show you some other ones which I found. There were some books, I was very lucky to find them actually. They're from many, many years ago. But the advice in them is just all common practical sense. And they came in many different books, and I'll just show you them now. Hi guys, so these are the books that I got from the antique store. It's worth checking your local area for stuff like this, because they do, or they may have, you know, things like this, which is all just useful practical advice. So it came as like a set. I don't know if it's the complete set, but it just covers many different topics that you need to be aware of and you need to consider when you're bugging in or bugging out. So we have here the Practical Home Doctor. You know, it just covers lots of different first aid topics. I am a trained first aider, so there's a lot of stuff in there. The techniques differ from what I was taught, but you know, I mean, it's just worth all knowing this stuff. Different things that you have to work with, you know, different techniques that you may need to call on. So it's worth, all the advice in there is just very simple, straightforward, practical advice. The Home Counsellor, I think that's, you know, for dealing obviously with like stress, and I haven't read that book very much, but I mean, from the title I would just assume that it, you know, how to deal with things from your point of view, and how to recognise stress, and how to, you know, just talk to people basically, and just be there for people. So the Home Counsellor, you know, just covers topics, because invariably in your group there's going to be someone that everyone talks to, confides in, and if you are that type of individual, then it may be worth just reading that sort of literature so that you can help people even further. The Practical Way to Keep Fit, it just covers basically, you know, just simple basic techniques for keeping fit. And you know, these books are quite dated, but you know, it's all stuff that is still relevant for today. Practical Information for All. That book is basically about how to be a good citizen, and I don't agree with a lot of the things in there. Like, it says to make sure that you keep all your identification documents available and ready, which I don't really agree with, because that just sounds like Nazi Germany, and I don't live in Nazi Germany, so I don't have to prove who I am to anybody. So when I'm bugging out, or if stuff hits the fan, I'm not going to carry any identification with me, because I do not need to. Secrets of Successful Gardening. Now obviously, you know, a lot of people just don't garden. They don't know how to grow things, they don't know to seed and create, you know, the next generation of the food that they're growing, such as saplings and things like that. So this book just covers some basic gardening techniques, you know, how to prepare the area that you're going to plant the stuff in, you know, just things like that, you know, just basic things that you need to know if you're going to grow food. The Book of Hints and Wrinkles, well, I don't think I've looked at that one too much, so I don't really know what it covers in there, but I'm certainly going to have a look, because the title's a bit interesting. And The Home Entertainer. Now obviously if you're in a bugging situation and stuff hits the fan, and you have children with you, you know, their attention span isn't very long, they're going to get bored, And that book just covers some basic games, which don't need a lot of materials, you know, they don't need anything that requires electricity. Because all these books were obviously written before, you know, like the electronic age, and they were written before, like, entertainment systems came into place. So the home entertainer obviously just has, like, simple games that you can play. Just things to keep people entertained, because you can imagine that in a bugging situation and stuff hits the van, it's going to be stressful. The kids aren't going to have the electronic devices running that they rely on. And, you know, as disgusting as that is, that children have to rely on these things, and, you know, they're not taught the basic, you know, more entertaining games, you know, which don't require anything like that. You know, that's quite a sorry situation that, you know, kids find themselves in these days, but they're gonna find that when they don't have that, it's gonna be very tough for them. Very stressful. They're not really going to understand what's going on, probably. So yeah, if you can get hold of some literature like this, just good common sense that's from like yesteryear, then I would just, you know, and these came as a set, and, you know, this was only like, what, 50 pence a book or something, so it was only like £3.50 or something I paid for these, which is less than what I paid for all of the previous books I've just shown you. So it can be worth looking in your stores, antique stores, you know, bookstores, anything like that, which could sell like just basic practical advice for preppers. I mean, these aren't specifically targeted at preppers, because that's a fairly new definition of like a survivalist or something, but, you know, these are all relevant to the prepper community. So this is Geordie Prepper signing off. I hope there's been something in here that you found interesting. As always, be safe and be prepared.